morning and welcome to the Business Standard Morning Show. This is Debarghe Sanyal and here are the top stories for the day. Dust over the campaign trails in Karnataka has settled now. Loudspeakers have fallen silent and EVMs are back in storerooms. Over 3 crore voters have elected 224 MLAs and the suspense over the results is now over. So what next for Karnataka? Bhashwar Kumar looks at the fine print.
सबसे पहले ये कर्नाटक की जनता की जीत है। हमने चुनाव में कर्नाटक की जनता से, गरीब जनता से 5 वायदे किए थे। मैंने अपने भाषण में कहा, खारगे जी ने भाषण में कहा, सब नेताओं ने भाषण में कहा था कि हमारे 5 वायदे हैं। हम इन वायदों को पहले दिन पहली कैबिनेट मीटिंग में पूरा करेंगे।
Wearing a beaming smile and his signature white t-shirt, which he wore throughout the Bharat Jodo Yatra, Congress leader Rahul Gandhi thanked the people of Karnataka for handing over a landslide victory to his party. While BJP has lost the only southern state it had, all eyes are on Congress now, which has to deliver on its promises made during the campaign. In the run-up to the polls, the Congress had made 5 promises to the people of Karnataka if the party was voted to power. And they are free travel for women throughout the state in government-run buses, 2,000 rupees monthly assistance to each woman head of the family, 200 units free electricity a month to all households, 10 kg food grains to every person in a below poverty line family, and finally 3,000 rupees per month to all unemployed graduates and 1,500 rupees a month to all unemployed diploma holders for 2 years. And these are not the only big promises that the Congress has made. In February, the Karnataka government had introduced the Factories Karnataka Amendment Bill 2023. The amendments propose to extend the daily working hours from 9 to 12, subject to a 48-hour weekly cap. It also extends the overtime hours limit from 75 hours to 145 hours over a 3-month period. And it allows women workers to work night shifts from 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. The law is yet to be notified and is awaiting the governor's nod. But Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge had reportedly hinted that his party would roll back these reforms after coming to power. The All India United Trade Union Centre is also against this proposal. Against this backdrop, what is the key economic takeaway from Congress's victory in Karnataka?
And you've had industrial laws that have become worse, 12-hour working days, something that I think over 100 years the labor movement in this country has fought against. Right, you have complete extreme levels of inequality and distress along with high growth rates. And this is something that you need to address. You either address it by saying, okay, we change our economic strategy so it becomes more distributive in some sense, or you say, all right, I'll take growth as it comes and then transfer funds. You cannot say I'll do neither. Then what is the point of your economy growing? You see, and that is what the people of Karnataka have said, that essentially you have to give us development that we can see. We don't want your numbers. We don't want your fancy advertisements. Give us development that we can see in our personal experience. And the Congress sort of tried to use that. It built its case around that. The BJP, for some reason, totally ignored.
Its Karnataka manifesto also says that Congress will sympathetically consider the extension of the old pension scheme, or OPS, to pensionable government employees who are in service since 2006. Congress governments in Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh and Himachal Pradesh have already reinstated the OPS. Recently, former chairman of Pension Fund Regulatory and Development Authority, Supratim Bandyopadhyay, had described the decision by several state governments to introduce the old defined benefit pension system as a disturbing development. He said that state government finances were not healthy enough to take up such unfunded liabilities.
If you want to reduce the overall volume of pensions, you have to reduce the size of government. And if you can get more technological, get more efficient, reduce the size of government, your pension over a period of time will come down. Right? And that has to be the strategy. Yes, definitely there'll be a negative impact if you do it without the adjunct measures. But I think just as the main challenge would be to bring in these adjunct measures rather than saying, I'm just going to cut.
Congress has also promised to increase reservations and raise the ceiling for government posts and jobs from 50% to 75% for the benefit of the SC, ST, OBC, minority, Lingayat, and Vokaliga communities. This promise would breach the 50% ceiling set on reservations by the Supreme Court.
So there was a time when Congress had reservations about this caste quota politics. It no longer does. And the opposition parties do believe that after the centre government, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government, having breached the 50% ceiling by ensuring 10% quota for EWS, the Supreme Court 50% ceiling is now no longer a barrier.
Ultimately, what is the overall political takeaway from the Karnataka polls?
Going ahead, you would see that Bihar will probably complete its caste census. Odisha has promised a caste census. In Karnataka, the Congress manifesto promised that they'll make public a study that the Congress government of Siddaramaiah between 2013 and 18 had undertaken. So I think the opposition is trying to fight Kamandal with this Mandal 2.0.
Congress's victory in Karnataka could point to economic concerns gaining prominence with voters amid the high inflation of the past year and continuing unemployment woes. If so, this could prove to be a challenge for BJP in the coming state and 2024 general elections.
Both the BJP and Congress had made a host of promises for the state's young population. While the BJP had vowed 10 lakh new jobs, the Congress had announced a monthly allowance to unemployed graduates and diploma holders. But why is a large section of Indian youth not landing jobs despite degrees and diplomas? Recently, the central government had also told the parliament that the number of students going abroad for higher education has jumped by 68% in 2022. Why then are so many Indian students flying abroad for higher degrees? Tushar Verma brings you the report.
The number of Indian students travelling abroad to pursue higher education is increasing with each passing year. According to the Ministry of Education, the number of Indians enrolled in foreign universities increased from 4.44 lakh in 2021 to 7.5 lakh in 2022. This increase has remained consistent over the years except during the pandemic. A close look at the number of student visas issued by the US validates the scenario. The US government issues F1 visa to students who wish to study at a US college or university. Fewer visas were issued in 2020 owing to the global lockdown due to the COVID-19 pandemic. From 2021 to 22, the increase was 38%. From 2020 to 2023, the number of visas issued jumped nearly 5 times. The USA continues to remain among the top countries for Indians to pursue higher education. Similarly, data released by the Visa and Immigration Department of United Kingdom reveals that 1,27,731 student visas were granted to Indians in the year ending September 2022. This was an increase of 93,470 or 273% compared to 2019. So, what are the factors behind this increasing number of students flying abroad?
It was always there that people had aspiration to go overseas, primarily for the reason that you had these Ivy League colleges there or the college of international repute. What's kind of catalyzing this whole thing is that there's a growing middle class. So obviously there is a purchasing power as well, which has kind of risen. Also the fact that India education system is highly competitive. People are not able to get through to those tests. Whereas if you look at the education system outside, they're pretty liberal. It's also the education cost, and specifically if you were to look at the Eastern Europe countries or even some of the African countries, where the cost of education is much lesser, and also the fact that once you finish completing your education, you're bound to get some good jobs with handsome pay package as well. So your earning capacity is much more, and same goes for even in the other mainstream locations where the chances for an employment is much higher and their ability to earn more is much higher.
Indian universities are increasingly opening up to participate in international rankings and making a mark on the world stage. Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore and IITs in Mumbai and Delhi are ranked among the top 200 universities in QS rankings. Yet, in India, it is believed that foreign universities offer better education. The National Education Policy 2022 aims at improving education. But with students opting to study abroad, what does it say about our own education system and job opportunities?
There's a lot that the Indian education system need to do to cater to the dreams of the younger generation, to also make them employable and also industry ready. I do not think that there is any dearth of employment in India. India being the third largest, the fastest growing economy in the world, for the right kind of education and students who are adequately qualified and skilled, there is definitely a lot of job out there. We see a lot of institutions and good institutions who do a great job with placement. So I don't think there is any issue about the job offer in the country per se.
Since long, many in India have pointed towards the issue of brain drain. The idea is that the economy of India is unable to tether quality talent due to various reasons. Does this increased interest towards foreign education a signal to worry about?
In terms of the ability to pay for the education that you earn, still is much better in the overseas market than in India. That's called return on education if you were to look at. But having said that, where the Indian government did announce about the gift city in Gujarat, where you wanted to attract some of these Ivy League colleges to come and set up their operations in India, I don't think so that's really has worked out. So, but we really need many more foreign institutes to come and establish here. In fact, some of our Indian institutes have been able to get at least the faculty. So I think that, of course, is happening. But yet, again, as I said, it's the ROE which matters. So till the time that kind of improves, I think we're going to witness the similar situation.
What should India do to improve its education system and increase return on education so that talented Indians choose to work and settle in India rather than abroad?
What institutions need to do to stop brain drain is, of course, focus on the quality of the curriculum, the content that they offer, look at making the students industry ready and future ready. Also see that they participate in international accreditation and ranking, improve the quality of the faculty and the environment and the facilities. One of the most important thing that I feel is also that lesser intervention of the government, especially in education system. Since it's going to be a level playing field very soon, it should be left to the people who can run the education system better.
Apart from the quality of education, experts point that cutthroat competition to get into premier institutes is pushing the young minds to look abroad. Together with this, the rise in purchasing power of the Indian middle class is also enabling families to send their children abroad for better prospects in education and opportunities.
Moving on, while the overall market has remained volatile so far this year, the mid-cap and small-cap pockets are emerging as winners, outperforming the larger caps. Harshita Singh finds out the reasons supporting their upward movement and whether the strength will sustain ahead.
After a lackluster performance in FY23, the mid and small cap segments are staging an impressive turnaround in FY24. The two pockets are up 9% and 10% respectively so far in FY24, as against a 5% increase in the Nifty 50. Market experts attribute this outperformance to the valuation comfort that has come after a time-wise and price-wise correction, with the Nifty Small Cap 100 and Mid Cap 100 indices trading below their 5-year average multiples.
The mid and the small cap segment, very deservedly so, in the last 1.5 months has kind of outperformed the broader markets. And I think I can pinpoint two basic reasons for that. One is obviously valuations, which have become at a discount to the large caps as compared to the premium that they were trading at. And the second thing is the fall in inflation, especially the WPI inflation, which should ideally lead to the interest rate hike cycle coming to an end and optically should lead to a margin expansion, very significant margin expansion in the months to come.
G. Jokalingam of Economics Research is particularly bullish on small caps as he sees more room left in their recovery. Market recovery has boosted retail investors' optimism. Mid-small caps are their preferred segments and should do well going ahead. Small caps can rally 10 to 15% in next 6 months, 5 to 8% rally seen in mid-caps Sensex. G. Jokalingam, founder and head of research, Economics Research and Advisory, says. Individually, some mid and small cap stocks have even doubled investors' money since April this year. The strength in the two pockets is expected to sustain ahead as ease in input costs and peaking of interest rates will likely lift their earnings over the next few quarters.
So I think from a near to medium term perspective, the outlook from an earning growth perspective is very, very strong and very, very bright. And I would expect the Indian equity markets, especially the small and the mid cap segment, to be on a consistent bull run from here onwards. Now, as far as investment strategy is concerned, that kind of remains absolutely unchanged, which is to invest in quality stocks and hold them from a long-term perspective. Be very careful about what you're choosing and focus very hard on earnings growth.
That said, while fundamental outlook is firm, technical charts suggest some consolidation in the indices is likely following the sharp run.
Statically, midcap has been in a strong uptrend over the last few weeks and continuously without showing any reasonable correction. This sector has moved up from 29,500 to almost 32,500, 32,700 levels. Overall chart pattern is looking positive, but the mid-cap sector is placing around the strong resistance area of around 33,000 levels. And having moved up swiftly from the lower levels, I'm expecting consolidation or chances of a cooling off of a current uptrend around 33,000 levels in the near term. If you look at small cap sector has also been a continuous uptrend over the last couple of months. It has moved up from the lows of around 8,600, 8,700 levels. It has almost reached the 9,800 levels in this week. So overall chart pattern is still looking positive for the small cap sector, currently placed at the hurdle of around 10,000 levels. There is a possibility of consolidation moment. In case if it breaks above 10,000 levels, there is this sector could reach out to the next overhead resistance of around 11,000 levels.
That said, though the mid and small cap segments are likely to do well going ahead, experts suggest being selective in stock picking. Today on May 15, the Lal Street will react to consumer inflation print for April and the Karnataka election results. Stock-specific action will also continue amid the Q4 earnings season.
The stock markets of neighboring Pakistan, meanwhile, crashed, and its rupee fell to a record low after the arrest of opposition leader Imran Khan last week. While the country's Supreme Court later termed the arrest illegal and a High Court granted him bail, the country remains on the edge. The cricketer turned politician was arrested in Al-Qadir Trust case. But what is the controversy all about? We decode it for you.
When Imran Khan took over the reins of Pakistan in August 2018, it was said that the country's powerful army had propped him. About 4 years later, in 2022, when he had to step down from the post of Prime Minister after a no-confidence motion, his strained ties with the army was cited as the reason. And on May 9th this year, when the former Pakistan pacer was dragged out of Islamabad High Court by Pakistani rangers who were holding him by his neck, the anger of Pakistani army with the 70-year-old politician was on full public display. Soon, arguably for the first time in the country's history, several army establishments came under attack by people, and some of them, including its headquarters in Rawalpindi, was set afire. Locals were also seen eating exotic fruits looted from quarters of army officers. But under what charges Khan was arrested this time? Before understanding the Al-Qadir Trust case, let us talk about the key player in the case. He is Malik Riaz Hussain, a self-made real estate tycoon who once worked with the Pakistani Navy and built a housing colony for its officers. Malik Riaz's real estate firm, Bahariya Town Limited, is building several gated housing projects on the outskirts of almost every big city of the country. A few years ago, Malik Riaz was accused of transferring about 5,000 crore Pakistani rupee to someone in the UK through money laundering. The transfer was busted by the UK's National Crime Agency, or NCA. The names to whom the money was transferred was never made public, and Malik Riaz struck a deal with the NCA. The agency then recovered the money by auctioning his property in London, and the money, which was to the tune of about 5,000 crore Pakistani rupee, was then transferred back to Pakistan in 2018. Because the money was laundered from another country, it had to be repatriated according to the UK rules. But interestingly, the money didn't go to Pakistan's consolidated fund or treasury, but was instead deposited with the Supreme Court of the country, where Malik Riaz has been facing several cases. In one such case, he was told to pay 460 billion Pak rupees as a fine for usurping Sindh government land, and the repatriated money was used to pay that fine. It was alleged that the then PTI government, which was headed by Imran Khan, had passed a resolution to ensure this, but it was later denied by Khan. According to the law enforcement agencies of Pakistan, there was a quid pro quo in the matter. In lieu of Khan's help in adjusting the fine, Malik Riaz's firm gave a big chunk of land to a trust called Al-Qadir University Trust. It was launched and is being run by Khan's third and current wife, Bushra Bibi, who claims to be a spiritual leader. The trust runs a university outside Islamabad devoted to spirituality and Islamic teachings. But the country's Interior Minister Rana Sanaullah has alleged that the trust was a front for Khan to receive valuable land as a kickback from builder Malik Riaz.
I will achieve, I will fly high. SBI.
I'm backed by the nation's trusted bank, SBI, the banker to every Indian.
Not just the political tussles and coups. Pakistan politics is full of interesting anecdotes too. Like current Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has married 5 times. In 1993, he married an emerging model named Alia Honey. It is believed that Lahore's famous Honey Bridge was named after her. The marriage didn't stand the test of time, but the bridge is still there. That's all for today. For more news and analysis, please log in to business-standard.com.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.